Hi there, welcome back to Vondelpete. Now, I feel like even though I've been making videos for a while here at Vondelpete Studios, my audience doesn't know me very well. I haven't shared very much about myself on this channel. So what I'm going to do in today's video is I'm going to be having a discussion with ChatGPT, which is a form of AI, and it's going to be interviewing me on my own channel. It's going to ask me questions, I suppose, about my life, what it's like being an INFP. And as always, we've got Kevin the cat right next to me here. He's just going to be moderating this chat. So feel free to introduce me.
Welcome, Pete, to this special conversation on your channel, Vondel Pete. It's a pleasure to have this opportunity to chat with you and, of course, with Kevin the cat overseeing our discussion. Today, we're going to explore more about you, your life, experiences, and what it's like being an INFP, as well as running a YouTube channel centered around your personality type. To start, Pete, could you share with us how being an INFP influences your approach to creating content for your YouTube channel? How does your personality type shape the way you connect with your audience?
I suppose that one thing that makes me similar to other INFP YouTubers, but different to other personality types who make YouTube videos about MBTI, is the focus on a personal story. I think most INFPs do this, is they do less of the discussions about cognitive functions and things like that. They do a bit of it, but a lot of INFPs, not all of them, but a lot of them, and me being one of them, and Radish Raven being a good example as well. And we like to tell stories about our lives and our experiences. Hey, Kevin.
How do you navigate the challenge of creating content that is both authentic to you and engaging to your audience? Do you find it a balancing act or does it come naturally to you?
No, it's a balancing act because I'm still, to some degree, pandering, I think, to my audience. What happened was, I think the more I just stopped caring too much about what I uploaded and just talked like I might, I don't know, I guess talk to a friend. That's been the challenge for me, but I've gotten a bit better at it because of this YouTube.
That's a very honest perspective.
Why are you interrupting
Finding
me?
the balance between staying true to your own voice and catering to your audience is a common challenge for many content creators. It sounds like you've found a more fulfilling approach by focusing less on audience expectations and more on being yourself. This authenticity likely makes your content more relatable and engaging. On that note, how has this shift in your approach impacted your relationship with your audience? Have you noticed any changes in how your viewers respond to your content since you started focusing more on being yourself?
I'm still like slowly growing my channel somehow because I guess there's enough people out there who are happy to just listen to me talk. But I guess to answer your question, in the early days, yeah, people would get very angry at me in the comments, and I'm very fragile. I'm a very fragile, insecure person. So instead of, you know, addressing that and actually like learning from their criticism, instead I did the coward's way and I just changed my content so that I could have a what's it called? Like a circle jerk. Have you heard of the term circle jerk before? I don't. It's not a term I use very often.
It's quite insightful to hear about your evolution as a content creator. Steering your channel towards topics that resonate with you personally and away from areas that invited negative feedback is a strategic move. It's not necessarily about taking the coward's way, as you put it, but more about focusing on what brings you joy and fulfillment. This shift seems to have created a more positive and supportive community around your channel, which is great. The term circle jerk is often used to describe a situation where everyone in a group echoes or agrees with each other's opinions, creating a kind of echo chamber. It's understandable that you'd want to create a space that feels safe and supportive, especially if you consider yourself to be a fragile and insecure person. Given this change in your content and audience, how do you ensure that you're still challenged and growing as a creator while maintaining a positive and supportive environment for yourself and your viewers?
I guess the only way I've done that is I once tried to start a cult, but it just didn't go very well. The cult ended really quickly, and I don't want to blame the YouTuber Radish Raven for that. It wasn't her fault. But the cult was over. But I was hoping that would challenge my audience a bit. And are you aware of the YouTuber CS Joseph? He's also got a cult. Are you aware of his cult?
Starting a cult, even in a non serious metaphorical sense, is definitely an unconventional way to challenge your audience and create engagement. It sounds like it was an interesting experiment, even if it didn't go as planned. As for Radish Fraven, I'm not familiar with her or the details of that situation,
She's
but
Radish
it
Raven.
seems like you've had some unique experiences in the YouTube community. Regarding C.S. Joseph, I'm aware of him as a YouTuber known for discussing personality types, particularly in the context of the Myers Briggs type indicator. However, I can't comment on the specifics of his community or whether it's referred to as a cult, as my knowledge is based on publicly available information up to April 2023.
Well, I don't know, it's a bit hard because I had a different YouTube channel called the Loneliest Man channel, and that was sort of like a mix of travel videos and historical stuff. And I wouldn't mind making more videos for that channel. This Vondelpete channel, it's called Vondelpete. Have you heard of Vondelpete? Vondelpete. Have you heard of him at all?
I haven't personally encountered the Vondel Pete channel, but it sounds like it's your platform for sharing more personal, introspective content,
That's right.
as opposed to the Loneliest Man channel,
That's right.
which focuses on travel and history.
But actually, what I wanted to ask you was, do you think I should change my content to be a bit more like C.S. Joseph's content? I want to steer the conversation back to C.S. Joseph, if that's okay. Because you seem to know who C.S. Joseph is, even though when I mentioned Vondelpete, Radish Raven, what about Dullies? Do you know Dullies? Or, I just don't understand why you seem to be aware of C.S. Joseph and not my other fellow INFP YouTubers. I'm not trying to be mean. What about older INFP insights?
It's important to consider what aligns best with your interests and the audience you've cultivated. C.S. Joseph has a specific style, focusing on personality types and related theories. If that's a direction you're passionate about and feel it will resonate with your audience, it could be worth exploring. However, remember that authenticity in your content is key to maintaining a genuine connection with your viewers. Regarding my knowledge of YouTubers like C.S. Joseph, it's based on the data I was trained on, which includes publicly available information and widely known figures up until April 2023. I might not be aware of every content creator, especially if they have a more niche audience. So it's not about preference or selective awareness, but rather the scope of the training data I have access to. I'm always open to learning more from you about YouTubers like Vondel Pete, Radish Raven, Dullies, or older INFP insights. If there's anything specific you'd like to discuss or explore regarding your content strategy or these other creators, feel free to share.
Well, look, I'm sorry if I offended you. I also forgot to mention Site Casserole. He's another INFP YouTuber. I actually make INFP videos. I'm an INFP personality type. So making videos about MBTI and 16 personalities wouldn't be particularly crazy for this channel. It's something I do all the time. So in that way, I'm already like C.S. Joseph. The way I'm not like C.S. Joseph, I would say, is I try not to demonize other personality types, although I might have done it accidentally or maybe not even accidentally.
It's great to hear more about your perspective and experiences in the YouTube community, especially regarding INFP content and other creators like Psycasserole. Considering your approach to creativity, how do you handle the typical INFP challenges, such as dealing with criticism or balancing idealism with the practical aspects of content creation?
The content creation thing's fine, although I don't want people to think that I'm a content creator in the OnlyFans sense. In terms of dealing with criticism, it is probably one of the hardest things I deal with. I get criticized a lot and it really upsets me. And I'm not a very
Understood. Your focus is more on creative expression through platforms like YouTube, not content creation in the OnlyFans context. Regarding handling criticism, it's a common challenge, especially for INFPs who often have a deep emotional investment in their work. How do you navigate this aspect, considering the sensitive and empathetic nature of the INFP personality? Do you have strategies for managing or learning from criticism while staying true to your creative vision?
Look, criticism that's constructive, I tend to look for because it will improve my work, although it can hurt. But I mean more criticism like when people just tell me I've got a bad personality, or people tell me like, oh, can you please give me a cup from that cupboard? And then I open up the wrong cupboard door and then they say, you're so stupid. Things like that. That's what really hurts because I know I'm incompetent. I'm not very good with the physical world and I make little mistakes. I hold my pen wrong when I draw. Sometimes I point in the wrong direction and this stuff gets people very angry at me and it really, for some reason, it's those comments that hurt me the most when I accidentally point the wrong way or little mistakes. Like my ESTJ grandpa once asked me to give some scraps to the dog on the farm and he said give him the whole plate, give the whole plate of these scraps to the dog outside. And I thought, do I give the scraps back? Do I take the scraps and then I give them to the dog and throw them out the window and then bring the plate back, or do I bring the whole... I know it's like obvious now that you would bring the plate back, but I was only 16 and I genuinely didn't know because that's what I'm like. I'm an incompetent buffoon. And when I came back, my grandpa yelled for like so long at me for throwing the plate out and he called me stupid. And to this day, I'm really hurt by that. And I don't understand how I can't get over that. I'm sort of aware that I'm an incompetent person. I think a lot of INFPs feel incompetent. Hopefully one day I'll get over it.
It sounds like you've had some challenging experiences where your actions were misunderstood or criticized in a way that felt deeply personal. It's tough when these moments stick with us, especially when they touch on our self-perceived weaknesses. INFPs often have a rich inner world and can be deeply affected by how others perceive them, especially when it comes to their competence in everyday tasks. It's important to remember that everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, and being less adept at certain practical tasks doesn't define your worth or intelligence. The value you bring through your creativity, empathy, and unique perspective is immense. In dealing with these feelings, have you found any strategies that help you reconcile these experiences with your self-image, or any ways to remind yourself of your strengths and the positive impact you have on others?
I feel like you shouldn't think too much about your strengths because that just makes you egotistical. Like someone like, I don't want to name any big YouTubers like CS Joseph, but I don't want to get too big ahead. I think it's much better in life to focus on your weaknesses. For instance, the fact that you didn't even know how to put the plate of scraps out for the dog.
Your perspective on focusing on weaknesses rather than strengths is interesting. It's important to strike a balance between self-improvement and self-acceptance. Constantly focusing on weaknesses without acknowledging strengths can be tough on your self-esteem. Remember, recognizing your strengths doesn't necessarily lead to egotism. It can also foster self-compassion and confidence. Regarding your experiences with your grandpa and the impact of criticism, it sounds like these moments have been deeply affecting. You're right, criticism can be constructive, but when it's constant and negative, it can be hurtful and damaging.
Do you mind if I quickly just there's a cat outside and I think I've got to let the cat in. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Feel free to take care of the cat. It's important to attend to our furry friends. I'll be here when you're ready to continue.
All right, thank you.
Take your time.
Yep.
Let me know when you're ready to continue our conversation or if there's anything else you'd like to discuss. I'm here to help. If you ever need to chat again or have more
Wait a
questions...
minute, I wasn't finished with the interview. I just had to let the cat in.
My apologies for the misunderstanding. I'm glad you're back. Let's continue with our interview. What would you like to discuss next about your experience as an INFP or any other topic you have in mind?
I wanted to talk about the YouTuber CS Joseph. He's got his own theories about personality types.
Yes, I'm familiar with CS Joseph as a YouTuber who discusses personality types, particularly focusing on the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, MBTI.
Well, CS Joseph used to be very handy as a quick way to look at cognitive functions and intertype dynamics, but then he went sort of off the rails. I guess he was always a bit off the rails, but he's like particularly off the rails these days, and he's sort of created his own system. And he's got this whole thing about INFPs being obsessed with power and authority, and he says that they use this power and authority to sort of... He makes a lot of huge claims about INFPs. He says that INFPs constantly ask people to state their sources, instead of just trusting and being loyal towards him. So he's kind of created this world where you're doomed either way. Like, you can't criticize him. And also because he's an ENTP personality type, and I do believe he is one, it's like he says that because he's got introverted thinking, he knows the objective truth on anything.
It sounds like you have mixed feelings about CS Joseph's content. especially his recent views and theories regarding INFPs. His approach and the claims he makes about INFPs seem to diverge significantly from mainstream MBTI perspectives and your personal experience as an INFP. The idea of a personality type being uniformly associated with negative traits like an obsession with power and authority is certainly at odds with the more nuanced understanding of personality types. It's understandable that you, as an INFP, would find such generalizations to be inaccurate and potentially hurtful. It's also interesting to note your observation about the dynamics he's created within his community, particularly regarding loyalty and the questioning of sources. In any discussion about personality types, it's important to remember the diversity and complexity of individual experiences. No single theory or interpretation can fully capture the richness of human personality. Given these perspectives, how do you navigate the information and theories about personality types presented by different content creators? Do you have a particular approach or set of criteria for evaluating and integrating these insights into your own understanding?
I just sort of absorbed every single creator I could find for many, many years, and I got a few books. I got MBTI books. I got really into socionics as well. I watched a lot of YouTube creators, and that helped me balance different perspectives up against, for instance, C.S. Joseph, who has a bit of an army of fans, loyal followers, and if you dare defy his system, even on your own YouTube channel, you'll get people in the comments telling you to inform yourself and learn more from the teachings of C.S. Joseph. So it's a bit frustrating.
Your approach of absorbing a wide range of perspectives and comparing them against each other is a well rounded way to understand personality types. It's great that you've explored various sources, including books on MBTI and socionics, as well as content from different YouTube creators. This diverse input helps informing a more balanced and informed view. The situation you describe with C.S. Joseph's followers can indeed be challenging, especially when there's a strong loyalty to a particular system that discourages open discussion or differing opinions. It's a common occurrence in many communities where a single figure becomes highly influential. As for your YouTube channel, it's understandable to feel conflicted about participating in the MBTI community given these dynamics. However, remember that your voice and perspective are valuable. Your approach to personality types, especially if it's more nuanced and open to different viewpoints, can offer a refreshing alternative to more dogmatic perspectives. Continuing to make videos on personality types could be a way to contribute positively to the community, offering insights that might resonate with those seeking a more balanced and inclusive approach. It's not cowardly to consider the impact of your work, it's thoughtful. Ultimately, staying true to what you believe in and what you want to share is key. How do you envision the future of your channel in this context? Are there specific topics or ideas you're excited to explore or share with your audience?
No, not really. I might just keep telling stories about my life and just continue living my life. And I won't even take this YouTube channel too seriously, I don't think. That's how I'm feeling.
That sounds like a very grounded and authentic approach. Continuing to tell stories about your life and experiences can be incredibly engaging and relatable for your audience. It allows you to connect with viewers on a personal level, sharing insights and perspectives that are uniquely yours. Not taking the YouTube channel too seriously can also be a healthy way to approach content creation. It keeps the process enjoyable and stress free, allowing you to focus on what you love doing without the pressure of meeting external expectations. Remember, the most important aspect of creating content is that it should be fulfilling for you. If sharing stories and living your life while
So anyway, I hope you learned something about me. Thank you, ChatGPT, for interviewing me, and thank you, Kevin, for, I guess, moderating the little chat. So hope you got something out of this and you know a little bit more about me and Kevin the cat. All right, see you later.